Today, the Disneyland Railroad and the Monorail both reopen. We've got both scenes covered, plus news from Tiana's Bayou Adventure, the Jolly Holiday, Earl of Sandwich, and of course, Avengers Campus. But first, let's get that glorious sight of the Disneyland Railroad on a rope drop morning. Arriving at about 8 a.m. on this morning to find once more a pristine Disneyland Railroad station on both sides, walls down. The train is set to open on this day. It's not open yet on this morning. It took a couple hours, I think, for it to open. But this just makes me so happy to see this. It makes me so happy to see that sign, show a wait time, and to be able to walk up these steps again. I don't know why it is, but this is so ceremonial for me. So that when it's taken, I kind of just, I don't enjoy it, but I really enjoy it when it comes back. We can see the benches out in front again. And of course, the view of Town Square. This is one of my top 5 views anywhere in the park, especially when Main Street traffic is happening, like the fire truck. It's so great. Guests coming in. It's still early yet. There's the omnibus. Wonderful. And later today, we'll be able to board this Disneyland Railroad as soon as it's open. Starting my recon morning off really, really well. I'm so happy that everything is back. We're going to ride that later today. You'll probably see some footage of that in this video. That and the monorail, which actually, let's go check that out next. There she is. Man, that makes me happy too. It's the train and the monorail are so just, I'm so connected. Waiting on the platform here, acknowledging the history of the monorail. I'm sorry if I'm waxing on during a construction report, but it just, that's how important it is to me. We're going to be boarding that later also. But we'll go down to the Disney or downtown Disney to see the new scan-in. This is why the monorail was closed, so they could build this, which it's got a little bit of that mid-century modern theming. I guess not quite what we've seen elsewhere in downtown Disney, but it's a little bit. New signs here, new gates, and obviously they have the new scanner set up as well. But same as they are out in the main entrance, we're not testing at the facial scanners, but everything else on the other side of that is exactly as it was before. No changes made there. Let's get back into the park. You know what? We're just going to talk about beauty and wonder today. So before we even get started, let's go to the hub and the partner statue, where one of the things that I love the most about the changing of the seasons is when spring begins to arrive and you get the pink trumpet trees. I absolutely love these. These are my favorite time of year, is springtime, because you get to see this kind of color. And it just is perfect. They're not quite as bright as they will be, I think. I think they do kind of bloom a little bit more, but I'm really happy to see those coming into bloom here at the hub. We'll get back to Town Square. We've got news over here at the Main Street Opera House. They've done a little bit more. The sign is gone. The sign is gone at the Main Street Opera. So I don't know if they're putting in if they're rebuilding the sign or just refurbing it or what, but the sign is gone. But you can see also they've done a little bit more stripping there. So we're going to have a different look to this building when it reopens finally with the new Walt animatronic. Here comes the horse-drawn streetcar, and there is the top of Town Square where they normally place the tree, the Christmas tree and the Halloween pumpkin. Right now it's just a planter. Have you guys seen the piece though that they have planned for for this planter for the 70th anniversary? I don't know why these things just strike me, but look at that. I don't know how I feel about this. It's so very overt and ostentatious. And before I even, oh man, so I'm just get ready for this, Fresh Baked is what I'm saying. But also, here's one I didn't even notice at first. They're going to put this piece of decor at the entrance in front of the Disneyland Railroad. When guests arrive through the gates, they're going to see, wow, I just don't know, man. I just don't know. That's a picture, I guess. How do you guys feel about that? What do you guys think of these very overt and ostentatious, brightly, they just don't scream Disneyland to me. I mean, I'm trying, Ringo. I'm trying real hard. But if they're anything like what they did for Pixar Fest, that was just brutal, in my opinion. I like a much more subtle and humble decor. That's just me. Speaking of things that are upsetting to me just a little bit, Jolly Holiday. We've been watching them redo the exteriors, plus there's a whole bunch of stuff back of house. Look, though, at this new sign that's been installed. That's the new sign at the Jolly Holiday. For reference, here's the old sign that was up just a couple weeks ago. They took the popcorn lights out. They took them out.
This is just a me thing. Like, I'm not sure if it's going to have the same impact for most guests. It probably will have no impact at all. But I personally, for those of you who have been watching this show for a long time, you might know, I personally have a deep, deep love of popcorn lights. I would put popcorn lights everywhere in this park, even where it doesn't belong. Hi, guys. I absolutely love popcorn lights. It draws me in a way I can't describe. So when they take the popcorn lights from me, man, it just hits me right in my heart. Oh, God, I don't know how I'm going to get over this.
That's going to take a while to get used to. Let's catch up around the park. We'll stop real quick at Adventureland. Buckets and wheels are a-moving. This has been solidly fixed now for a couple months. I just want to remind everybody of that. Say hello to the bootstrappers. These guys are awesome. Thank you, guys. Here we go. Disneyland Railroad at the New Orleans Square Station. We're still closed at this point in the morning, but they do have a train in the station. Oh, look at that. Just wiping down the gates here. That's I love to see that. Okay, those are some cast members up there doing some testing. They're doing a couple laps before they open it up to the public, and it looks like the train is about to take off. Wonderful.
Hot damn, man. But soon. We're going to join you on that Disneyland Railroad soon.
Let's head around the corner. Here's some good news. Tiana's Bayou Adventure once more. It's pretty much a walk-on at this point, although it is pretty early. I don't even know if it's 9 a.m. yet, but there are guests in the boats, that's for sure. We're going to make our way. We're going to go do a quick ride through of Tiana's to check in on the animatronics. So Lift Hill Tiana looking pretty good. Yeah, that's about right. She's looking pretty solid there. Okay. Lewis is being Lewis. Critters are crittering. All right, there's Bayou Tiana. I don't know what to call that one, but she's moving pretty good. Lewis and Tiana look good there as well. And Mama Odie also at the top of the lift hill looking good. She's all looks like a full range of motion there, which leaves us obviously with just Florida Bayou, Tiana, and my goodness, there you go. That's what we want to see. They have fixed Tiana in that final scene. That's fantastic. Arms move, everything. Body moving, arms, head, eyes, mouth, everything. It all looks good.
So thumbs up on Tiana there at the end. She looked great. She's performing again, moving about in all directions, which is nice. There's a couple of animatronics. Well, I should say, actually, was it just one? I think it was just Mama Odie at the end. She was just eyes only. She wasn't moving her arms at all. And Juju wasn't there. But just based on what I remember passing through there, it seems like every other animatronic was working as it should. So good job, Disney. Happy to see that. I hope that quiets some of the folks out there who aren't appreciative of how difficult it is to keep a ride like that operational with respect to the animatronics. They are very complex.
Let's keep that momentum going. Let's check in on Rise of the Resistance. We talked about the cannons are working again in previous episodes, and we'll do a quick ride through at Rise as well. And yes, the cannons are still fully operational, but I do want to mention also, that was expected, but I do want to mention the turrets on the AT-AT are also working. There is there's two sides to that part of the show, and the turrets were not aiming down. They weren't moving down and then firing. They were staying up, which kind of takes you out of the show a little bit. If they were firing, they'd be firing straight up into the sky. Those turrets have been fixed as well, so we look pretty good there.
However many years later it's been since they will be galaxies, I still get a little stupid and a little excited when I see Chewbacca. When I see free roaming Chewbacca, when he's walking around, that makes me happy.
Let's get caught up on Big Thunder Trail next and the little water situation down there. The trash is still gone. I mean, well, it's not like they'd put it back, but the trash situation hasn't gotten worse. And I will even say that the water actually looks better on this trip. So they must have gotten in there and moved the water around a little bit because it was quite stagnant and green the last time we were through. It's still a little bit green, still a little bit stagnant, but not nearly as bad as it was before, to the point where I might say that looks almost normal, almost the way it should be. It looks better when the water's running, the waterfall, because it keeps the water moving. Stagnant water tends to create more just like an algae-ish type situation. So that looks good. Golden Horseshoe. Construction walls and scaffolding are up now. It is still open. We mentioned this last week, and it is. I didn't get. We got here pretty early, so I don't know what the. It's not even open yet here, but we're wondering. We're going to be checking in on seeing how the status of the Golden Horseshoe is with regard to the crowds. But you can see there's some crew up there working in the scaffolding. I tried to peek through the walls. There's not a lot to see. It's mostly just staging on the other side of the walls, but it does look like they are stripping some of the exteriors and replacing the wood. And then probably, repainting it as well. Again, getting ready. This is all getting ready for the 70th anniversary. Those last shots were from the Mark Twain. Let's stay aboard and check in on the situation over here by the Columbia. Something we noticed in our State of Disneyland report. They cut down a bunch of trees. A bunch of trees have been cut from this little slice of the island where it's just down to dirt and a couple of trees now, maybe 3 trees left plus a dead one. Well, it's probably, still coming out of hibernation, as it were. But I'm not, these were pines, I believe. And I'm not sure what the reason is, if this is one of those like regular maintenance season type deals where they don't usually cut the whole tree down though. I'm guessing is that there was probably some health issue that they were dying, or somebody mentioned something in comments about there was pine trees were having a hard year. I don't know if that's, reached all the way to the rivers of America at Disneyland, but it wouldn't surprise me if this is not because they hate trees. Unfortunately, I think some of those trees were having some health issues, but it really is a striking change. Speaking of striking, a story that we've been trying to keep up with is the Snow White Grotto, the well there where you hear Snow White sing and you can make donations to children around the world. The little arch, the wooden arch, is still missing. Again, I'm assuming that this is going to be fixed and back to its normal state anytime soon. Or sometime soon. But I'm counting down the weeks. I'm hoping it's soon because I don't like the way this looks either. Good news, though, is that they do still play, the music. Snow White does still sing. You can still hear her singing at the grotto every, 5 or 10 minutes, I think. So that's good. I've been meaning to update you guys on Casey Jr. We talk about this from time to time in our State of Disneyland reports. I'm looking out here at Casey across the way to see if we see any trains on the opposite side. There are none, and here comes one in the station. We are running still just one Casey Jr. train at the moment. We're going to keep our eyes on this to see when that second train comes back to the track. It changes everything at Casey Jr. It like I said before, it's half the time or twice the time, depending on how you look at it. Small World. We talked about the new decor pieces that are going up out there at Town Square and the hub. There's going to be additional changes to Small World. In addition to the new lyrics that have been written for the song, they're bringing in Coco. Coco is going to be added to Small World. I'm not sure if that's necessarily specific to the 70th or just they felt the need to add him. You're going to see Miguel and Dante in the attraction, plus the Marigold Bridge kind of situation happening there. Concept art looks pretty good, pretty, understated, not too overt, which I like. Again, I like things to be modest, but he looks good there. Looking forward to seeing he's a good addition to Small World. If you're into that sort of Disney characters appearing on the ride type situation. Also, I'm hearing that there's going to be projections, 70th anniversary projections happening on the exterior of It's a Small World. We have also been reporting on the ongoing refurb that's happening that's going to take us into April. We haven't been able to see much over the wall, but now that the train is back, we get to look from the other side, which gives us, obviously, a much better view. And there are some casts there. It looks like they're working on, I don't know what they call that little parade of characters that come out every 15 minutes, but it looks like that's what they're working on there, on the track and everything. Plus, a guy in a scissor lift over there behind the Small World sign. A couple of cast members down there doing I don't know what on that left side. So there's the refurb on the exteriors is ongoing. Checking in real quick before we leave at the Fantasyland Theater. I was mystified by those photo ops down there last week. And I mean, obviously they were 90s night. I didn't even realize it, but it made me observe, and please join me in observing this, just how sad, just how sad and low effort this is. I like to give Disney credit where they deserve it, and I will give them, people sometimes say I give them too much credit, but this is terrible. I uncredit for this. For 90s night, you're going to pay $150 and you get to Fantasyland Theater, and there's just those two little standees that you stand in front of. Like, I don't know, man, that really bums me out. And I have heard not very many good things about 90s night. Liz was there. Some other friends were there. It was kind of meh. And we may have gone to our last 90s night, even as for just as a fan, for show, definitely. But even because Liz just went as a fan and it didn't go very well. We're going to head to downtown Disney and DCA next by way of the Esplanade, where we have construction walls up where they were down last week. They're working on the middle section, gates 19 and 20, etc. The right side is still open. The left side is still open. The middle is next. I want to note, though, do you guys remember when they took the trees out and we were kind of contemplating the effect on the tree trick? But I noticed that they had these sort of cheap boards down there where the planter was for the tree, and I was kind of like, that's not very good. It's kind of low rent. They have upgraded those planters now to have proper, I don't know what that is, if that's steel or iron or what that is exactly, but they have put proper plates down there around that tree planter, so that's good. I'm glad to see that they upgraded that from it was like board, it was like wood that was down there before. So good job on that, Disney. Thank you. Across the way, DCA, we're in week 2 of that middle section being updated. We'll go to Tortilla Joe's next to find the current status of construction, which is, it's progressed a little bit. It's slow going. It seems like, or we want it to go faster, but it just doesn't work that way because they've got so much to do on the inside, and they're still working on, you can see the exterior of that outdoor bar. But the awnings have been stripped further. You can kind of get a good look at how much they've been working on the inside. Unfortunately, I'm surprised it lasted as long as it did. They covered up that hole, so I can't look through the hole anymore. They've de-fresh baked that. My nemesis is the guy who has to. Anyway, there's the side. You can see they stripped some of that off the side of the building there where they had something attached. This is going to take a little while, this demo. But I've been advised that the proper demo should begin sometime in April. One half of the work that was being done, we saw the fences up, the scrim. One half of that has been cleaned up. Here's the other half. That is still there. That's probably going to be gone by next week. They've redone that. Latest from Earl's Sandwich, which, stay tuned. I got some comments on this. There's Earl's Sandwich. The vertical steel is the same as it was. But if we look through the crack here, we'll see that they have started putting down rebar on the ground. You can see the rebar there going through the forms, which means they're ready to pour concrete. They're going to be pouring concrete here in the next couple of weeks, I'm sure. That's foundation, getting ready to build Earl's. ESPN Zone, not a lot of movement here. It looks about as we left it. I feel like they have taken down a little bit of, some of the facade work there, but we're still seeing the brick veneers. I'm assuming the brick veneers are going to be removed. I mentioned Earl's Sandwich. There's the temporary one that has been open now for a while, and that was kind of a mystery of what they were doing with that. But look, they've already closed it. Look, it's empty inside. They're gutting it. They're closing the temporary Earl's Sandwich.
All right, let's see if we can't parse this one because this is interesting. Temporary Earl's is closed. The thought was they put that up so they would have a place for Earl's guests to go while they're building the new Earl's. But they also left open La Brea Bakery Earl's. They were both open at the same time. So perhaps something changed with that agreement about what's going to happen with La Brea Bakery. Tells me La Brea Bakery Earl's is going to stay open there completely until the new Earl's is done or close to done. Probably done. Which also tells me that we shouldn't expect any demo or any sort of progress, any sort of construction on Porto's until Earl's is done. That's what I'm getting out of this. That's the tea leaf reading. Porto's is not going to start until Earl's is open.
So that's downtown Disney. Let's get into DCA. More of those trees, those lovely, lovely trees. They're in bloom now at Carthay Circle. And you can see through those trees and the fountain that Carthay Circle is still under scrim and scaffold. Can't see much of what's going on behind there. Although, again, I totally am not expecting anything more than paint and polish. The actual restaurant and the 1901 Club and everything is still open. while they go through this. The Buena Vista Street Shops, Elias and Company, they're still going through their refurb update or their exterior update. Grizzly River Run looks to be done. You guys, look it. We are done at Grizzly River Run. All the scaffolding is down at that spot where we saw them working on the rock work last week. So that is complete. Looks fresh and new, doesn't it? Looks great. Same here. We've got boats, rafts in the water. There's a little bit of water in the river and the rafts are there, which means that they are done with all of the faux logs and rock work that they were working on down there as well. That's exciting. We lost our video on this, but thank goodness we do have some photos. You can see all the new logs there. The ones that are running along parallel, I guess, with the track are the new logs and the new rocks. That looks great. Everything looks like it's going to fit right in. When they bring the water levels up too, it'll become even more immersive and more convincing. So Grizzly River Run, awesome. And by the way, yes, the scrim and scaffold are down around the Russian River Outfitters as well. Looks like just new paint. And then we'll end on a trip around the Pixar Pal-Around to see the latest from Avengers Campus. See if we can't get that camera in there. I don't know, doesn't it look like they put the concrete back on that left side? Where that white truck is to the left of the, I've been calling it pink, but it's more like a salmon, isn't it? To the left of that salmon building. That's where they had dug up the concrete before, but it almost looks like it's been restored, but I know it hasn't, but that's kind of a trip. That's so difficult. Yeah. Wow. So they have extended the actual fencing has been pushed out around closer to the Avengers Assemble building. And then there's Dirt Mountain 1 and Dirt Mountain 2, Big Dirt Mountain or Little Dirt Mountain. The right one is growing very quickly. Dirt Mountain is back there, growing very quickly back there. So they must be doing a lot of excavation. We do have this shot. Somebody shot it from, I think this is an airplane. It was posted to the Face Ripped Off Instagram page, but that dirt lot, that is the extent of the dirt lot that is behind Luigi's. That white building that is in the middle left third of frame right there, that's the Luigi's building that we see from Pixar Pal-Around, the salmon colored building. That's the opposite side. So it is almost exactly right behind that space. And then they haven't yet started touching anything to its right. You can see there's the barn, by the way. That white building in between the Luigi's building and Mission Breakout. That's the red car trolley barn that will be eventually demoed. If I'm not mistaken, that should be it, right? If we go back to the footage from the Pixar Pal-Around, I keep wanting that rectangular looking building, the white building, to be the barn. But I think it's actually this one behind those trees a little bit, just behind the Avengers headquarters. So we're not going to get a very good view of them when they do wind up destroying that red car trolley barn. You can see it here in this overhead image. It's forward of the Mission Breakout building rather than behind it like the rectangular one is. So the trees are going to block our view a little bit there. But all that building and then all that blacktop in front of it or behind it, and then, you know, as you keep moving towards the Luigi's building, all of that is going to be subject to demo, and they're going to find some way to fit the Tony Stark ride and the Avengers e-ticket back there somewhere where Dirt Mountain and Dirt Mountain Jr. are. I keep changing the names, but they are Dirt Mountain, whatever the case may be. And as promised, we did enjoy the Disneyland Railroad and the Monorail. Here's some highlights of that trip around the park. It's just so good to have these back.
Welcome aboard the Disneyland Railroad. We're embarking on a grand circle tour of the Magic Kingdom. People like you have been riding these rails since the 1800s, traveling through nature's wonderland in a matter of days.
Hello, everyone. Welcome aboard the Disneyland Monorail. We are now beginning a 2.5-mile journey to downtown Disney Station and back. And we hope you enjoy your visit to the Disneyland Resort.
All right, that's it. Let's talk about the current status of refurbs around the park. Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln closed. No date as of yet on when it'll reopen, but our expectation is hopefully, well, at the latest of July. Pixie Hollow meet and greet with Tinkerbell is back to unknown. We're back to not knowing when this is going to reopen. The calendar's kind of hinky. It shows like it's going to be open for a couple of days and then closed again, on reopening on March 20th, but then closing again the next day. So it's hard to tell. Jolly Holiday, we have a reopening date of March 22nd. Closed in the middle of a refurb. No confirmed date as of yet, but again, we are expecting sometime in April. Indiana Jones Adventure closing on March 17th per the Disney website. Will be reopening on April 25th. And then Grizzly River Run over at DCA reopening on March 14th, and Mission Breakout closing on March 10th, reopening on March 21st. That's our update this week, guys. Thanks for watching. We love you. Be safe out there. Be kind to one another. And fresh baked.